What's good, folks? This is SilentMode, maker, artist and LEGO enthusiast, and I wanted to do a voiceover video talking about my latest creation, a 3D printed LEGO, I'm calling it a Beverage Stein. The actual part is called a Stein or a glass, and it's a transparent glass. I was actually inspired to design one of these as a 3D printed model from the Friends Advent calendar. I thought it was a rather nice part. And I had the idea of customizing it to have different kinds of beverages and even different color foam on top. Thought it was a nice idea for a 3D printed project, and also because I haven't done anything like this in a while. You can see here my process of designing the thing in Fusion. Fusion 360 is my choice of modeling program, and I'm not actually going by accurate measurements. One of the things I do when I design a 3D printed version of a Lego piece is I use my eye for the most part. I'm not trying to create an exact replica. I'm trying to create something that looks similar because I want people to know that I created it, and it has to have those little quirks. And it's not designed to be part of this system anyway. So anyway, I designed it as best as I could using my eyes and guessing some of the measurements. The base and the body of the cup were according to a regular Lego size brick or plate. Everything else was improvised. Now here's where I got to a really difficult part, and this is what took the most time, is trying to create the whip on top of the piece that has the foam. I couldn't do it by myself using Fusion, so I had to look up how to create a helix curve, and fortunately there was this page that had the equations as well as instructions on how to create a script in Fusion for generating the curve. And I had to play around with some numbers with this one because obviously it wouldn't give me the exact measurements and things in order to create the specific shape that I needed, but this was a really good start. So I was able to do that, and I had to play around with a few numbers to get a good enough spiral shape. And also what I did to fill in the gaps created by the spiral shape, I created a form which I molded to give a more organic shape. And here's me adjusting the spiral shape that I created. This forms the whip, the main part of the whip, and I'm just trying to shape it to make it look a little bit natural. I've had to give this a go quite a few times, and I believe this is the most recent iteration. Very fiddly. I wish I could get this more accurate, but this is what I have, and I think it looks okay. I'm not a 3D modeler by trade or by any form of imagination. I just had to do the best that I could. But the main thing here was getting the shape, well, a good enough shape. If I wanted to make it Lego accurate, then I would look at copying the existing models that were available, and then it would just look like a regular Lego thing, nothing particularly special. And I've designed all the parts so that they fit together without any glue, any fancy supports, and of course had to add my logo there so people know who it was that designed it. And I'm almost ready. And one thing I also like to do is make the models so that they can be scaled accordingly. That's the finished model right there in Fusion, and I'm getting ready to export it. You can see that I've got a setting there that lets me control how big the model is so that when I print it, everything should fit together. Export it as a 3MF file to keep all the parts together, but they will be printed separately. And so I have the glass portion printed in a translucent PETG or PETG, and this is so that you can see everything inside it, although I'm not able to get that glass finish that people often crave, but it's translucent enough so you can see what's inside. This is the filling, and you can see I'm printing two copies, one for a larger Stein and one for the smaller one. That's just a plain color. You can use whatever color you want, and the same thing for the foam. This is the original version that I designed, which was a little bit short, I found, but it's got a nice shape to it. So I decided to keep it and see which one I preferred. This was the second, or rather the last version that I did, which is a little bit taller, but it's a completely different shape. Same color filaments, same premise, but again I wanted to see which one I preferred, and whichever one you choose, it may depend on what effects you're going for. But you'll see here the filling just slides into the Stein like that, and then the foam goes on top. It's all rather nice. I don't think you can get the filling out though. That's probably an improvement I can make. There's me trying the different foams, and I quite like this one. I think that's nice and frothy, but it's going to depend on what kind of drink you're going for. I say that's a success. And of course I printed a larger one, which you'll see here, which is completely up to you. That's a nice display piece there, but I'd say that was a success. Thank you for watching, and here's to future products, 3D printed or otherwise. This has been SilentMode, maker, artist and LEGO enthusiast, as usual encouraging you all to do your thing.